So now the president has come out fairly forcefully and said that he will protect net neutrality. Now, theoretically, it's not in his hands. It's in the hands of Tom Wheeler, who's his FCC chairman. Now, Tom Wheeler is a former lobbyist for the guys who don't want net neutrality. They want to be able to slow down whichever internet sites that don't pay them their ransom. So all the Comcast, Verizon, all the internet providers, right? And now people who are on the other end of that, the Netflix, the Googles, et cetera, are opposed to that. And the American people are opposed to it because we don't want websites slowed down. We don't want a couple of companies being able to control what we see and don't see and the speed at which we see it. Now, so the president says, hey, listen, I'm for net neutrality. Let's keep the internet as it is. And the way that we do that, because of Supreme Court decisions, is that we have to call it a utility so that we can regulate it like a utility. Does that mean we're going to change anything? No. The point of that is so that we keep the internet exactly as it is, that we don't change anything and we don't allow the internet providers to be able to make unilateral decisions on which websites you can see and can't see and at which speed you could see them, right? Now, the Wall Street Journal is going to write a terrible article that completely confuses the issue, on purpose it seems, to make it seem as if the Republicans might be trying to protect you. It's written by Gautam Nagesh, who is apparently a terrible reporter. So he explains, now the one good thing is you get information about the Republicans' intent. So let's start in the beginning. He says, many conservatives and the broadband industry say utility-like regulation is a step too far, arguing it will stifle innovation in the industry. That view is held by some pivotal players in the new Congress, such as John Thune, the incoming chairman of the Senate Commerce Committee. Okay, that is the Republican position. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But at some point in the article, you might want to explain, but it makes no sense to say that it stifles innovation because net neutrality would keep the internet exactly as it is. There would not be any new regulations saying, okay, now the internet must be changed like this, or now the websites have to be cleared through the government. No, there's none of that. So you want to represent to your readers what's actually happening? No, you want to represent the Republican position. Now, Rupert Murdoch bought the Wall Street Journal a while back, and we were told that it was not going to affect the reporting at all. Let's see if that's the case. They say dissension over the internet rules is so rancorous that it could end up impeding progress on technology policy areas where there is potential for agreement, such as cybersecurity and the allocation of wireless spectrum, according to telecom lobbyists and congressional aides. Now, this is good information. This is where we find out the Republicans are so upset about the inability of the internet providers, if the president gets his way, to control the internet to their pleasing, that they say cybersecurity, North Korea hacking us, whatever it might be. We don't give a damn about any of that. Those are lower priorities than making sure our donors get exactly what they want. And their donors are these internet providers. They bought the Republicans. They would now like to get their return on investment. And so this gets moved up past cybersecurity and all the things they pretend to care about with great vigor. They explain that all options are on the table, he said, including legislation to block reclassification and cutting the agency's budget. In other words, if the FCC doesn't agree with us and it agrees with the president that appointed the chairman, that's it. That's it. We'll just cut. We control the purse, right? We'll just cut the budget entirely. Say, FCC, who needs you? Okay? So they're threatening to go nuclear. You think they represent you? You think they care if the internet providers slow down your favorite website? Or they say to other companies, we're crushing your competition. Capitalism? Who cares about capitalism? Free market. There's no free market. I buy the politicians and the politicians give me a monopoly. Then I get to say, hey, you're my competitor? Well, look, you know what? I'd like to do a service that's a competitor to Netflix. Oh, Netflix, look at that. Your accounts are so slow. They just can't get through our pipelines. Sorry, the government gave us the ability to control all the pipelines. Now, either you pay me a king's ransom, or maybe I just drive you out of business and replace you, right? They would have enormous power. The Republicans want to give that to them. Yet the article frames it as, the Republicans are against regulation. It looks like they want to protect the internet. Even if they called it 50-50, it would be a grotesque lie. It's not true that it's 50-50. One side actually does want to keep the internet as it is. Those are the people in favor of net neutrality. That's a fact. You can't argue with that fact. It's not an opinion. It's not an ideology. It's not about politics. It's not partisan. They say, we would like to keep it the same. The other side says, I want the ability to charge people more or to slow down their websites. That's a fact. But the Wall Street Journal doesn't paint it that way. Again, though, they do give you good info on how much the Republicans care. Lawmakers could also try to implement a seldom used law, the Congressional Review Act, which allows Congress to void major rules issued by federal agencies. So when the Democrats are in the majority, they're like, oh my God, should we get rid of the filibuster? Should we not? I don't know. Should we use these different tactics to get our bills passed? Well, they had 60 votes at one time, and they were still worried about which procedures they should use. The Republicans get in charge, they're like, boom, we'll go nuclear. We'll wipe out the agency's budget completely, and we will use rules that have not been used for a long, long time to do things that are unprecedented. Why? Because our donors got us elected. Voters didn't get us elected. 95% of the time, the guy with more money wins. They know who's their bosses, and as soon as they're on the job, they got to serve their boss. Okay. Now look, Gene Kimmelman here, who's the president of Public Knowledge, does make a good point. And we're really going to find out who President Obama is, too, okay? Because he put their top lobbyist in charge, and then turned around and claimed that he was for net neutrality. Words are interesting. Action's a lot more important, right? Now, Kimmelman points out, however, he says, despite all these Republican attacks, if the White House remains firmly in favor of a strong net neutrality rules, all legislation is likely to fail. Because the president can veto everything the Republicans do. Even if they pass through the House and the Senate, the president just vetoes and goes, sorry, we have net neutrality. I said I was going to protect the internet. I will protect the internet. So whether he does that is going to be a really interesting story. I don't know which way he's going to go because I don't trust the president. The president loves to talk like a progressive and then act like a conservative. So that jury's still out, and they're right to point that out. Now, I just want to give you one more sentence from the article to give you a sense of the context of this article. At no point in the article did they point out the Republicans would like to change the way the internet works now. Change the way the internet works. Instead, you got a paragraph like this. Another option is legislation to preserve net neutrality without resorting to utility regulation. However, such legislation would be anathema to many Republicans who oppose any regulation of internet access. But that makes it seem like the Republicans oppose changing how the internet is run. They oppose any regulation of internet access. But that is counterfactual. That's the exact opposite. You can use the word regulation to trick people. Oh, Republicans are generally against regulation. And putting the internet as a utility would be technically regulation. But wait, does it change the internet? No, it doesn't. It does the opposite. It protects the internet as it is. Either you don't know that, and that's why you're an incredibly incompetent reporter, or you do know that, and you set out to deceive people so you get a nice pat on the head from your owner, Rupert Murdoch. Good boy, good boy, good boy. Okay, way to pretend to be a journalist, instead feed people misinformation. The reality is the Republicans would love to change the internet as it is and to give the giant corporations monopoly power. They don't believe in free markets. They hate free markets. What they want to do is give their donors all of the power. That's what they want to do, and that's what destroying net neutrality would do. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe the Wall Street Journal here. The reality is, and look it up yourself while the internet still exists, okay? Look, the internet's very strong right now, so I don't want you to get paranoid about what's happening. Right now, we do have net neutrality, okay? So look it up for yourself. Don't trust me. Don't trust the Wall Street Journal. The reality is the Republicans want to change it, and the president claims that he'd like to keep it the same. And progressives are very clear on this. Keep the internet exactly as it is now. Don't meddle with it. Don't let the cable and internet providers meddle with it. That's what they want to do so they can get power over the internet. Don't let them do it.